You'll never really get ahead in tech sales just by working hard. The real trick is knowing how to succeed using a specific strategy. I know it works because it helped me get promoted 6 times in 6 years and generate well over 60 million in sales. In this video, I'm going to show you these powerful strategies so you can apply them, get promotions, and secure raises, just like I did. But first, why isn't what I'm about to share with you fun? Power dynamics, they're at play in every aspect of life, especially in sales. And well, some people think these strategies are manipulating others. Guess what? The people who claim they don't play power games, yeah, they're often the most manipulative. Stick with me and I'll share these strategies with you. No more excuses. You'll have that missing piece to take full control of your career and get rich in tech sales. Now, if you're wondering how to master these dynamics, probably heard of the master of strategy himself, Robert Greene. He's written a ton of books, but in his book, 48 Laws of Power, he breaks down the tactics that can make or break your tech sales career on a daily basis. These aren't just theories, they're the rules of the game that most successful people follow, whether they admit it or not. Some people call these strategies manipulative. Others, they see them as a must to compete in this crazy competitive world. But here's the thing, understanding these laws, it's not an option. If you want to get ahead, you got to. The people who claim they don't play power games, they're the ones that know these laws inside and out, and they use them to take advantage of you while leaving you in the dust. Now that you understand these stakes, let's dive into the first law. You need to master these to control your career and dominate tech sales. And remember, these strategies, they're not about playing dirty. They're about playing smart. Gotta think. Let's get into it. First, we'll start off with 3 defensive moves that'll protect you. And then we'll wrap it up with a few offensive moves that you can use to get ahead. Definitely stick around for those ones. Have you ever felt like you were just crushing it at work and you notice your boss getting all uneasy, just nervous like? Well, there's a fine line between impressing people and threatening their ego. Cross it? And you might just regret it. Because in tech sales, your boss can either be your biggest ally or your biggest headache. And if you make them feel insecure or worried about your talents, yeah, some people, they get worried about your talents. It's crazy, right? You're not just risking a bad relationship, you're risking a bad career. Instead, try this. Focus on making them look good. No, you don't have to kiss their ass. But remember, their success reflects on you. And in the long run, this is called smart humility. It will definitely set you up for success and growth in the long term for your career. If you're making your boss nervous, you're playing a risky game. Here's how to stay on top without losing your footing. I remember another situation with this one mid-market AE. He was just as talented, but he played the game totally different. This guy knew something. He was always careful to share credit with his manager, and he made it a point to never outshine him in presentations. Sounds like something that a person with no backbone would do, right? I don't think so, because this was strategic. It was a strategic approach, and it worked. It built a strong alliance and led to the manager pushing for the rep's promotion. His plan? Yeah, it made sure he got promoted and kept on rising through the company. Pro tips, always give credit where it's due, especially to your superiors. Frame your wins as team victories. Do this to avoid looking like a threat. Make your boss look good in front of other bosses. Your quiet support will build trust and secure your place in their good graces. I know it can feel like you're holding yourself back and hiding your true potential just to protect someone else's ego. Well, it doesn't feel right. It feels gross, in fact. But when it's done right, this strategy makes you indispensable. Honestly, it ends up leading to more opportunities for growth and advancement. Now, let's talk about how the company you keep can either lift you up or drag your ass down. You ever notice how spending too much time with the office complainer can leave you feeling drained? Nah, it's not just in your head. The kind of negativity that will kill your career. As AE in tech sales, well, who you spend your time with will either make your career or break your career. Hanging out with all the negative Nancys, the unluckies, and the unsuccessful types, they're gonna hurt you. And it's not just your morale. How people see you and perceive you is important. So, instead, stick with those close people that you have, the positive ones, the good friends that keep challenging you and want you to get better and achieve more in your career. One time, I watched this top accounting executive in my office. His whole career crumbled in front of me in real time. It all went downhill when he started hanging out with the wrong people in the office. What happened next? It was a masterclass of what not to do. This kid started off strong, one of the most reliable, talented, natural talented actually, in closing, no fear behind the phones, didn't even care about rejection. One day, he started spending more time with this funny but really underperforming rep in his pod. Don't get me wrong, this kid, he wasn't a horrible person, but he spent more time entertaining the office than actually focusing on his work. Over time, the top rep picked up a ton of bad habits, just like his funny friend. Eventually, his performance slipped, and he fell right into the unsuccessful crowd. The top rep missed out on the biggest promotion he could have gotten. He was a no-brainer for this. Offer some company and a few daily laughs. And guess what? The funny kid, he got fired, by the way. As the saying goes, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If your career is stalling, yeah, it might be time to check your circle. Now think about a rep that made it a priority to connect with the high achievers in his company. What did they do? They found the people that were crushing commissions. Not only were they crushing commissions, but it was like everybody in the company actually liked them. By sticking with these top performers, they got 2 benefits. 1, they were inspired to work harder to fit in. And 2, they were automatically seen as part of the elite team, just by association. This positive association, it goes a long way. It got them quick promotions and the right recognition from the right people. Pro tips: choose your close work associates carefully. Put yourself around those who are successful and driven. Distance yourselves professionally from the negative influences. This will help you maintain a positive image. Engage with mentors, colleagues, and generally just people who push you to improve. This will help you reach for new goals and achieve way new heights. I know, it might feel harsh to distance yourself from certain peers, especially if they're struggling or unhappy. But just surround yourself with successful and positive influences will help you stay on the path to success. This will definitely stop you from getting dragged down. Now, let's talk about another key to your success: understanding who holds the real power and how to avoid crossing. Remember the story about the emperor with the new clothes? Everyone was afraid to speak up until somebody did. In the workplace, it's the opposite. Sometimes it's better to be quiet. If you ever said something in that meeting that made the whole room go dead silent, well, you might have just offended somebody important. Here's why it matters. In tech sales, knowing the power dynamics is crucial. If you offend the wrong person, whether it's a client or a peer or someone higher up in the position, you can seriously harm your career. This is why it's super important to understand who holds the power and how to handle those relationships carefully. I once knew a commercial rep, an account executive who lost a major deal and a promotion in one brutal swoop, all because he was a dummy. I mean, he wasn't dumb, but he for sure did something totally dumb. He unknowingly crossed the wrong decision maker in the wrong time. The lesson? Always understand who's in the room. This rep was on a fast track to success. He locked in a high stakes deal with a major industry player, something that took months of negotiations and back and forths. The final presentation was set off-site at the customer's facility. This deal by itself would have made up half of his annual quota. He crushed the presentation. It looked like all the key stakeholders in the room were on board, except for one guy. This one guy, he didn't seem so important. He just kept asking annoying question after annoying question. But in this moment, the rep, he was professional. He was on top of it. He answered them all, thinking nothing of it. But as he left the room, he made a critical mistake. He got in the elevator, and guess what he did? He casually mocked the guy's questions. This guy even made fun of the dude's appearance, not realizing there was a woman in the elevator listening. Maybe he actually was a dump, because she was the direct manager of the guy he was just making fun of. To his credit, she looked unassuming, like a secretary or an intern, but she was somebody that mattered. Word got back to the prospects. They went with another provider. They sent a crazy letter to the executive sponsors, breaking down exactly why they lost the deal. The entire office knew the result. The rep, they were sidelined. He missed out on promotions. He was banned from going on any other offsites. And his VP saw him as a liability, a troublemaker, someone who couldn't be trusted in high-stakes situations. As the saying goes, speak softly and carry a big stick. In tech sales, knowing when to speak and when to stay quiet can make all the difference. Here's a story about a strategic sales rep who knew how to handle a tough VP. The VP, he was a hard ass who always wanted to be right. One day, in an important team meeting, a teammate suggested a plan to the VP, and the VP quickly criticized it, shut it down in front of everybody. The room got tense, but the rep didn't back down. Instead, he listened to the VP's concern. He adjusted, smartly tweaked part of the plan on the fly, connecting it to the things that the VP had done well before, while still keeping the majority of the plan his own. This showed the VP that the rep respected him and was aligned with his vision. Impressed, the VP supported the plan. Later, when a new role opened up, guess what? He needed someone that could handle a tough situation. And this rep was the first choice. He earned the role by mastering both sales and playing the game, the toughest player in the room. Pro tips: always be aware of the hierarchy and power structures in all aspects of your organization. Come at criticism or disagreements with tact, especially with superiors. Build alliances with influential people. Don't burn bridges. Burning the wrong one can cost you a lot. Yeah, it's uncomfortable to tiptoe around people, especially when you know they're wrong. But handling these situations with care keeps you in good standing, and it helps you make sure your career stays on track. Now, let's talk about why it's important to be seen and heard in your company, and how to do it without stepping on anybody's toes. Remember in school when the loudest kid got all the attention, even if they weren't the best? Yeah, the workplace is not much different. In fact, in tech sales, it's crowded, it's competitive, and as an AE, being visible is everything. You might think just doing great is good enough to get noticed, good enough to be seen, good enough for promotions, but that's not always the case. You have to actively be seeking attention, showcase your achievements, make sure your contributions get recognized. Yeah, that might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but the people who get noticed, those are the ones who get promoted. As they say, out of sight, out of mind. In tech sales, visibility isn't just important, it's everything. We all know that one talented sales rep, the one who consistently delivers, gets great results, but they keep their head down and they believe their work will speak for itself. They're not promoting their own success. So guess what? They get overlooked time and time again. They don't get the promotions. This happens all the while way less talented AEs are moving consistently up through the company. I watched one account executive move from SMB to mid-market to majors quickly. He always stayed in the spotlight. Here's how you can do the exact same thing. The key to his success was that he always shared his achievements and exactly how he got there. He did this individually, with the peers that sat right next to him, and in team meetings with everybody present. What he didn't do was hoard his techniques and tools that got him all of his wins. If he figured out a new prospecting technique, something that got higher value prospects, or he made a better proposal format that helped him close way more deals, guess what? He shared all of it. And the result? Someone always approved upon it. They always were happy to share it right back with him. So he got better results, they got better results, and everyone knew that he was a source. Even better, because of this, he often had others share his successes for him. Solution engineers, SDRs, MDRs, other departments, even customers. He had a knack for getting them to send written emails about him, messages that praised him for all of his hard work and his interactions. And he always took the lead on high visibility projects. And guess what? He always got credit. And then he passed on the credit to his managers for the opportunity. This put him in good standings with his leader and kept him in the spotlight with higher ups. People were talking about him, even when he wasn't in the room. And guess what? He was quickly recognized as a top performer and fast-tracked all the way to the top for every promotion that came forward. Pro tips: don't be shy about highlighting your achievements and your success. Take on projects that will get you noticed by your leadership, and don't forget to use meetings and communication strategically. Keep your name at the forefront of all decision makers' minds. Courting attention can feel awkward as hell, especially if you're not used to being in the spotlight. You gotta make sure your contributions are recognized. This sets you up for promotions and new opportunities. Once you've mastered that art of visibility, the next step, well, it's learning how to use other people's efforts to further your career. Let's dive into how you can get the credit you deserve while having others do all the heavy lifting for you. Remember in school when you did all the work in a group project, but somebody else got all the praise? It's time to flip the script, but in your favor this time. In tech sales, specifically as an AE, leveraging the skills and efforts of others can be a powerful strategy. You gotta delegate effectively. This frees you up to have more focus on bigger, way more strategic goals. But it's crucial you get recognized for the success of everybody else's work. This positions you as a key contributor and a leader on the project. If you're doing all the work yourself, you're definitely doing it wrong. I knew a high-performing AE that always took on way too much. He thought he had to do everything himself just to succeed. He went overboard and took on tasks he should have delegated. Tasks that easily could have went to his SDR or his MDR, maybe even his SE. There's no way around it. He was overwhelmed. His perfectionism tried to get him perfect in too many areas. And guess what? Of course, his performance, it slipped. When he finally did delegate all the tasks, he didn't make sure his contributions were even recognized. A total missed opportunity to show his leadership and his skills. Why work harder when you can work smarter? The secret to boosting your career just might be letting others do the heavy lifting. I remember one quarter where I left too many deals to the last day. Despite the tight timeline, my prep work, my connections with the deals, and with my teammates, spot on. In fact, I was triple booked in one specific hour. With no more runway left for the quarter, these deals needed just one final conversation to close. But I didn't have the time. I had pre-planned everything, negotiations, proposals, counters, and the offers. I was 99% sure I could close the deals if I had a chance to talk to them. But with the time so tight, I set meetings with my VP and my VP of account management. Both, they were dope at closing, and they knew how I operated. I reviewed my close plan with them, and I had them follow my specific instructions to the T. In that 1 hour, I closed my deal, and they closed the other 2 deals. Just in that day, across those deals and 4 others, I ended up closing 2x my entire quarterly quota. Delegating those tasks earned me a higher commission. It allowed me to honor my commitment with my customers, and it showed both my VPs my skill in action. They felt part of the entire process. And when my name was announced, for pulling off such a crazy, incredible feat just in one day, they knew they played a big part, and I made sure they knew I appreciated it. This earned me respect and a ton of credit with both of them and their peers. Pro tips: delegate tasks smartly, focusing on the big picture. While others handle the details, make sure your role in the project is visible and recognized by leadership. Take credit for successful outcomes, but also, you gotta share the spotlight. You gotta build goodwill with your team. I know, it might feel awkward or boastful seeking recognition for your work, but by doing so, you make sure your efforts are noticed, opening the door to promotions and opportunities. Now, let's explore how you can use the efforts of others to climb the ladder without burning out. Do you know what makes your clients or competitors tick? If not, you're missing out on a powerful tool, not just for influence, but for success. Understanding what drives people, their desires, their fears, their insecurities, that gives you a crazy amount of power in the tech sales world. By identifying and leveraging these emotional triggers, you can influence, control, and outmaneuver others in the high-stakes world that is sales. I once saw a colleague close a massive deal by pinpointing the client's biggest fear and using it to his advantage. The strategy, straight up brilliant, and ruthless if I have to say so myself. This account executive discovered that a key client had a deep-seated fear. He didn't want to look stupid in front of his peers. They were new in their role, their leadership role. It was from a different industry, so everything was brand new to him. I'm sure there was a little bit of imposter syndrome at play. But by offering some low-key insights and giving him a crash course in how he could be better in his department with the tech that he was offering, and by positioning himself as a trusted advisor, the account executive, he didn't just secure the client's business, he gained and leveraged the negotiations for the rest of the period. This client became dependent on the account executive's expertise, making sure he had his long-term loyalty and higher sales. So, how does this relate to you getting promoted as an account executive? Everyone has a weakness. Find it, and you can control the game. Here's how to discover and use a thumbscrew to your advantage. Once, an account executive found himself in direct competition for a promotion with another account executive. He knew this peer was sensitive about their lack of public speaking and their presentation skills. The guy wasn't that bad at presenting, he was just more of an introvert, and wasn't flashy or charismatic like the other guy. So what did he do? The ruthless guy leveled up his charisma even higher and made his presentations more interactive, more flashy. All of this showcased his own expertise in those specific areas. He even conned his way into strategically presenting right after his peer in highly visible sessions like end of quarter reviews. The result? The rep exposed his rival's weakness. It planted doubt in the manager's mind, would ultimately make the recommendation for who was the final interview. This strategic use of psychological pressure helped the AE dominate his market segment and gain recognition within the company. Pro tips: pay close attention to what drives the people around you, their ambitions, their desires, and especially their fears. Use this knowledge to influence their decisions. You gotta identify someone's weakness or insecurity and subtly leverage it to your advantage. Do this for negotiations, for competitions, and to position yourself as indispensable. Offer solutions that address others' deepest concerns, making them reliant on your expertise. Yes, it might feel manipulative to use someone's insecurities and desires to your advantage, but when done with tact and subtly, it allows you to control the narrative and steer the outcomes in your favor, locking down influence and success. Now, let's explore the final and most ruthless strategy for ensuring your dominance in the world of tech sales. Like they say, the best defense is a good offense. In tech sales, that means leaving no room for your competition to breathe, especially when a promotion is on the line. In this fiercely competitive world, when you've got the chance to outmaneuver someone for a raise or a promotion, you have to eliminate any chance of them making a comeback and taking that W that's supposed to be yours. Securing your position requires decisive action, action that leaves no room for competitors to challenge your success. I watched an AE lose a well-deserved promotion because they underestimated their rival. Here's what you need to do to crush your enemy totally, not just partially. There was a rising star on our sales team, someone who was absolutely crushing it. He hit his annual quota in just 8 months, leaving everyone in awe. With his numbers through the roof, it seemed like nothing could stop him. In fact, he made a critical mistake at this exact point. He took his foot off the damn gas pedal. Instead of pushing harder, he slowed down. He was still making sales, but he got complacent. He must have thought, well, I got this in the bag. I got to secure the promotion. I don't have to worry about nothing. What he didn't realize, crushing his quota wasn't enough. You also need to play the political game. You need to lock in your position. Meanwhile, his rival saw the opening and he was not playing games. He seized it. Not only did the rival AE ramp up his own sales and overtake him, but he started to outplay him politically. He subtly undermined the rising star's reputation. He painted him as the rep who got lazy after early success, the guy who took his foot off the gas, the guy who thought he was a hotshot. By the time the rising star realized what happened, it was too late. The rival AE, he gained favor with upper management. This made the rising star look like a one-hit wonder. In the end, the promotion and the pay raise, it went to the rival, while the original AE was left wondering, what the hell went wrong? All because he underestimated the competition and did not finish strong when it really mattered. In tech sales, mercy is weakness. If you don't crush your competition, they'll come back stronger and take your promotion. I know a mid-market account executive, he was crushing his quota. He built strong internal relationships and was even chatting with the hiring manager. He was sure he had that major account executive role in the bag. But when decision came, someone else got the job. A rep with worse numbers. It hurt real bad. It lit a fire under his ass. He vowed from that point on, he wasn't gonna play. He stopped leaving things to chance. Every conversation with the higher up became strategic. He remembered details, he followed up, he got invitations for more in-depth talks. He offered help. He made himself indispensable. He even got to know the executive assistants. He doubled down on his numbers and made sure his name was known across the departments. When the next promotion came, he wasn't blindsided. He'd already been told the major account executive role was his. It was just gonna be an interview for a formality's sake. But he got the promotion. And more importantly, he learned that in tech sales, it's not just about being the best. It's about making sure everyone knows it. This time, he didn't just win the promotion. He secured his place at the top. Pro tips: when you have an advantage, press it fully. Don't leave any room for rivals to recover. Securing your win by building strong, unshakable relationships with clients and stakeholders and leaders. Be strategic in neutralizing your competitor. Make sure they can't threaten your success in the future at all. It may feel ruthless to completely crush your competitor for a promotion or a raise, but in the cutthroat world of tech sales, giving them that chance to retaliate is a risk you cannot afford. Done right, this approach locks in your dominance and makes sure that you reap the rewards all of your hard work. Whether it's by leveraging the right relationships or making sure your competition doesn't stand a chance, these strategies are your ticket for higher pay and quick promotions. But here's the thing, networking and power plays will only get you so far. There's one more piece to the puzzle. If you really want to skyrocket your success, you need a surefire strategic closing plan, something that'll earn you 5 extra commissions as an AE. And I'm breaking down exactly how to do that on my next video, so don't miss out. Also, if you like this content, subscribe, turn on notifications, leave a comment about which one of these laws you would actually use. Some are spot on to get ahead, and some you just need to make sure aren't being used against you.